Top 6 Worst Food Combinations for Kidney Health. These everyday food combinations could be silently damaging your kidneys, and most people eat them daily. Not just one bad food, not just one bad habit, two foods together, a combination. And that combination creates a reaction inside your body that is far worse than either food on its own. Nobody warned you about this. No one sat you down and said, "Hey, the way you are eating right now is stacking the odds against your kidneys." But that is exactly what is happening for millions of people every single day. And the worst part? These are not unusual foods. They are normal. They are convenient. They are probably in your kitchen right now. In this video, I am going to walk you through the top 6 worst food combinations for kidney health, why each one causes harm at the biological level, and what you can swap in immediately to start protecting yourself. These are not obscure combinations. They are embedded into everyday eating patterns across the world. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack time. They show up everywhere. After watching this, you will understand exactly what is happening inside your body when you put these combinations together, and you will have a clear, practical path to doing things differently. No extreme diets, no expensive supplements. Just better information applied to real daily choices. Let us get into it. Starting with a duo so common it is served in practically every restaurant on the planet. High-salt food with processed foods, compounding sodium overload and vascular pressure. Think about a typical lunch. A sandwich made with packaged deli meat served with a side of canned soup or a bag of salted crackers. Every single item in that meal contains added sodium. Not one item is a problem on its own in small amounts. Stacked together on the same plate 3 times a day, they become one of the most consistent sources of kidney stress in the modern diet. Here is the biology. Your kidneys act as your body's filtration system, processing roughly 200 liters of blood every single day. Sodium, when consumed in excess, causes the bloodstream to retain water. More fluid volume means elevated blood pressure inside the tiny vessels that thread through your kidney tissue. These vessels, called nephrons, are built for precision work. Sustained pressure damages them gradually, reducing filtration efficiency over time without a single symptom to show for it. The combination problem is not just about total sodium, it is about frequency and volume arriving simultaneously. One high-sodium item gives the kidneys a spike to manage. Several high-sodium items consumed together turn that spike into a sustained wave the kidneys have to ride for hours. Research consistently shows that populations with high processed food consumption have measurably higher rates of kidney function decline, even in the absence of other risk factors. That pattern has nothing to do with genetics. It has everything to do with what lands on the plate. Salt overloads the filtration vessels. What comes next attacks the filtration barrier itself, and it does so through a mechanism most people associate with energy levels, not organ health. Sugary drinks paired with junk food, a can of soda with a slice of pizza, a sweetened iced tea alongside a bag of chips, a fruit juice with a fast food burger. These are not unusual meal combinations. They are standard. They are advertised. They are on every value menu in the world, and they are quietly punishing your kidneys. Junk food is already high in refined carbohydrates, which convert to sugar rapidly during digestion. When you add a sugary drink to that meal, you are delivering 2 simultaneous floods of glucose into your bloodstream at the same time. Blood sugar spikes sharply. Insulin surges to compensate. That cycle, repeated daily across months and years, creates what researchers call insulin resistance, a state where blood sugar stays elevated longer than it should after each meal. Chronically elevated blood sugar is corrosive to small blood vessels. Inside your kidneys, small blood vessels are everything. The filtration barrier is built from them. As they stiffen and scar over time, protein begins to leak through into urine, a measurable early sign that the barrier is compromised. This process, called diabetic nephropathy, is one of the leading causes of kidney failure globally, and it begins long before a formal diagnosis of diabetes is ever made. The combination amplifies the damage because both items hit simultaneously. Neither gives the body a recovery window before the next glucose wave arrives. Sugar corrodes the filtration barrier from within. Now we shift to something most health-conscious people consider a positive habit, one that becomes genuinely harmful when one crucial variable is missing. High-protein intake. Without sufficient water. Protein is not the enemy. Your body needs it for muscle repair, immune function, and dozens of other essential processes. The problem is not protein itself. The problem is high protein eaten regularly without enough water to support its processing. When your body breaks down protein, it generates a waste product called urea. Urea travels through the bloodstream to the kidneys, where it is filtered out and excreted through urine. This is a normal, healthy process when protein intake is moderate and fluid intake is sufficient. Increase protein intake significantly while keeping water intake low, and you create a bottleneck. More urea arrives at the kidneys than they can efficiently process, given the limited fluid available to carry it through. Urea concentration in the blood rises. The kidneys have to work harder and longer to clear the backlog. Over time, this elevated filtration demand strains the kidney tissue itself and contributes to rising creatinine levels, one of the key markers doctors use to assess kidney function. This combination shows up most often in people following high-protein diets for weight loss or muscle building without being told to increase water intake proportionally. The diet advice is followed correctly. The water piece is simply never mentioned, and the kidneys absorb the consequences quietly. Too much protein without water creates a waste backlog. What comes next is a combination so widely consumed that most people would never think to question it, yet it stresses the kidneys through three separate mechanisms at once. Fast food, paired with soft drinks, a burger, fries, and a cola, the most ordered meal combination on earth. And from a kidney health perspective, one of the most consistently damaging things you can put together on a tray. Fast food carries extraordinary amounts of sodium, often exceeding a full day's recommended intake in a single meal. We have already established what sustained sodium does to kidney vessel pressure, but cola drinks add two additional problems that make this combination uniquely harmful. First, most dark cola drinks contain phosphoric acid, the compound responsible for their sharp, tangy taste. Phosphoric acid is absorbed rapidly into the bloodstream and must be filtered and excreted by the kidneys. Regular cola consumption has been associated in research with increased kidney stone risk, and in people with existing kidney strain, measurable declines in filtration rate over time. Second, cola and most other soft drinks contain caffeine, which has a mild diuretic effect, meaning it encourages the body to lose fluid. Pair that with a high-sodium meal, which already draws water from tissue to manage the sodium load, and you create a dehydrating effect at the exact moment your kidneys need maximum fluid support to process everything they are receiving. Three stressors arriving simultaneously: sodium pressure, phosphoric acid filtration burden, and reduced fluid availability. The kidneys handle each one in isolation without lasting harm. As a routine combination, they accumulate into something far more serious. Fast food hits the kidneys from three angles. The fifth combination is subtler and far more underestimated because it does not involve a dramatic food at all. It involves what happens when a particular food habit meets a particular lifestyle gap. Packaged snacks, eaten without adequate. This one does not look like a problem at first glance. A handful of flavored crackers at your desk, a packet of chips during an afternoon break, a processed granola bar between meetings. None of these seem dangerous, none of them feel excessive, but consider the full picture. Most packaged snacks contain a combination of sodium, artificial preservatives, flavor enhancers, synthetic colorants, and phosphate-based additives used to maintain texture and extend shelf life. Each of these compounds enters your bloodstream after digestion and requires kidney filtration to be removed from the body. When consumed occasionally with adequate water intake, the kidneys clear this chemical load efficiently. When these snacks become the rhythm of your entire day, eaten one after another from morning to night while drinking little water, the filtration queue never fully clears. Compounds linger in the bloodstream longer than they should. Waste concentration rises. The kidneys work at elevated demand continuously without the fluid throughput needed to process and excrete efficiently. This is not a dramatic, acute injury. It is a slow erosion, a filtration system running perpetually near capacity without the recovery windows it needs. Over months and years, that chronic low-grade strain contributes meaningfully to measurable kidney function decline. The combination here is not two specific foods. It is a snacking pattern meeting a hydration gap, and that pattern is extraordinarily common in modern working life. Snacking patterns without hydration create a filtration backlog. The final combination N is the one most people never connect to kidney health at all because it does not feel like a food issue. It feels like a lifestyle issue. But the two are inseparable. Excess sugar consumption with a sedentary lifestyle. This is the combination that builds quietly for years before anything shows up on a test. High sugar intake on its own drives the blood glucose and insulin cycle we discussed earlier. A sedentary lifestyle on its own reduces circulation, raises resting blood pressure, and promotes low-grade systemic inflammation. Together, they do not just add their effects, they multiply them. Physical movement plays a direct role in how efficiently the body uses glucose. When you exercise, muscles absorb blood sugar as fuel, naturally lowering the post-meal glucose spike that would otherwise stress kidney vessels. Without that movement, the full force of every sugary meal or sweetened drink lands on the bloodstream and stays there longer, requiring the kidneys to manage a sustained high-glucose environment rather than a brief one. At the same time, inactivity reduces circulation to the kidneys themselves. Good blood flow keeps kidney tissue oxygenated and functioning efficiently. Reduced circulation creates pockets of low oxygen, which over time accelerates the stiffening of kidney tissue and the vessels supplying it. The result is a body that processes sugar poorly and delivers reduced support to the organ responsible for managing the metabolic waste that sugar processing generates. The kidneys are left holding the burden from both directions simultaneously. This is not a disease state, not yet. But it is the exact environment in which kidney disease quietly takes root, years before any symptom appears and years before any doctor orders a kidney function test. How does it affect your kidneys? Before we close, it is worth stepping back and seeing the full picture of what all 6 combinations have in common. Because once you understand the pattern, you will never look at your plate the same way. Your kidneys are your body's filters. Every drop of blood you have circulated through them dozens of times every day. They separate what your body needs from what it needs to eliminate. They regulate fluid balance, blood pressure, electrolyte levels, and acid-base balance simultaneously, all without any conscious effort on your part. Every harmful combination we covered works against that system through one of 3 pathways. Increased waste load, high sodium, excess protein, phosphoric acid, and synthetic food additives all require active kidney filtration to leave the body. Stacking multiple sources simultaneously drives the total filtration demand beyond what the system handles comfortably over the long term. Reduced fluid support. Kidneys need water to carry waste through and out. Dehydrating combinations, whether from caffeine, sodium, or simply not drinking enough water alongside food, reduce the fluid throughput the system needs to function at full capacity. Waste builds up rather than flushing through. Structural vessel damage. chronically elevated blood sugar and sustained blood pressure from excess sodium gradually damage the tiny blood vessels the kidneys are built from. This raises creatinine levels in the blood, a clinical marker that indicates the filtration system is working below optimal capacity. None of these processes cause sudden, dramatic harm. They operate over months and years in the background. The body compensates quietly for a long time. By the time a blood test flags something worth investigating, the pattern has typically been in place for years. That is exactly why awareness at this stage before symptoms appear is so genuinely valuable. Here is what I want you to take away from this video. You do not need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You do not need a special diet, an expensive supplement, or a complete kitchen transformation. What you need is clarity about which specific combinations are doing the most damage, and the awareness to make one or two different choices starting today. Swap the cola for water at one meal. Add a glass of water every time you reach for a packaged snack. Choose a lower sodium option when two similar products sit next to each other on the shelf. Walk for 20 minutes after dinner instead of sitting immediately. These are not sacrifices. They are small redirections that compound into real protection over time. Your kidneys are working for you every minute of every day without a single complaint, even when they are under strain. The least they deserve is a little more of your attention. And now you know exactly where to start. Comment 0 below if this video changed the way you see your daily eating habits. Every comment tells us this information is reaching people who need it, and it helps us reach more of them. Think of one person in your life who eats these combinations regularly without knowing what they are doing to their kidneys. A friend, a parent, a partner. Send this video to them. You might be giving them information their doctor has never had time to explain. Subscribe to Kidney Health for clear, practical, science-backed tips every week. No scare tactics, no complicated protocols, just real information in plain language that you can actually use. Our next video breaks down the best foods to actively support kidney function, including several that are cheap, widely available, and backed by solid research. It plays automatically after this one. Stay on and watch it. Your kidneys never take a day off. The least you can do is give them better fuel.